Welcome back. Let's keep this roller coaster on the tracks. In this episode we'll have some trimming, hopefully we'll have some running, we'll have plenty of questions answered, and we'll talk about money as well. Let's go. What I'm about to attempt, you definitely could not do with an F-Series truck in a garage this size. Okay, give me a second. I only took the other side off 2 days ago, and I've no idea, but this one is putting up a way bigger fight. So I think we've all agreed that I'm not keeping the wheel arches, so I'm going to whip this wheel off and cut the wheel arch skin, because this has been a pain in the arse. Definitely time for my Scrapman Craigslist post. So that's that. And this is the state of her right now. Had a garage clean up. One thing that I, during builds, always forget about, and it sounds really weird, is my mental health. And my mental health entering the garage. And when I enter the garage and it's just like there's crap everywhere, there's aluminum, dust from the discs everywhere all over the floor. It just really batters my head. So we've had a clear up, tools are out, car's vacuumed down. Going to leave this whole area because I don't know how the bug buddy is going to taper down to sit on top of that. Decided to take out the wheel arches, figure that out when I get to it. Vacuumed the carpets of all the crap that was in there. Also, if you can see, there's the white spots are all mold. There was an epic water leak in there that was completely full of water. So I had that propped up for a couple of weeks. So that's pretty much dried out in there. I don't want to take any more of the sills off right now because I don't want to take any more strength out of the car. When I do start to take the sills out, saying that though, I'm chopping it in half anyway, but I don't want it to flex, while it's still one. And I really do want to get it running at this stage right now. Today is Monday. There's a gentleman I'm going to meet up with tomorrow who's going to have the crank trigger wheel tomorrow evening. So I'm filming Young and Restless tomorrow morning. Then I'm at Second City improv class tomorrow midday. Pick up that crank trigger wheel in the afternoon. Then Wednesday I have orientation for my new job. Then Thursday we should get back on this and see if we can get it running. And also I think I'm meeting up with the owner of this to get a few more bits that I forgot. So yeah, Thursday we'll be back on it. Now let's go into the questions about why I picked a Miata and the budget that I'm using to do it. Questions and budget. Fun times. It should be pretty fun actually, and quite illuminating. So, as most of you know who have watched this build from the beginning, the original plan was to mid-mount a Volvo 5-cylinder turbo engine in the middle of the bug. There were several issues with it. Track width was pretty wide for the front of the Volvo, which would have then been the rear of the bug, so I would have had a big discrepancy in track width from the front to the rear. The biggest one for me is I was worried that I wouldn't have the patience to get a balanced car. So I've got the front end of a car from the noughties, the 2000s, and I have that's in the back of the bug, and I have the front end of the bug, which it was fundamentally designed in probably, it was produced in 70 in the 1302, so let's say it was designed in 1965. And there were so many flaws to that front end design, a lot better than the torsion bar, but still by today's standards really flawed. And that bug in particular looked like it had been dragged from Baja to California with no wheels on, so it was just done. So looking at it, there was a ton of money I would have had to throw at the front end, while still retaining a steering box, and all the inefficiencies of that design. I mean, one of the main things is the front arm on a bug, on a Super Beetle, is a single arm, so it runs like that. So the chassis is like that. So obviously the arm can flex, and the wheel's on this end. So you've got chassis rail, wheel, arm. That arm from the chassis rail can go forward and back. Now, on modern cars, it's triangulated, so your arm's like that, so your arm can't go forward and back. On older designs, they tend to be located by a sway bar, which it is on the bug. Now what happens is, as the suspension goes up and down, you have movement within the sway bar, so you're starting to get caster differences and all sorts of geometrical differences within the range of travel of the suspension. So you've got all that going on, and I've also got damping rates and spring rates that I've then got to mess about with to try and create, as I say, balance within the car. And it just started battering my head, and I was like, let's not design my own chassis this time. Let's go with a pre-developed chassis, which is what I usually do with the trucks anyway. I get a Crown Vic, chop the body off. The chassis is all developed and damped and springed anyway. With the trucks, it does get a little harder because they're lighter, but essentially front to back everything's balanced. So that's why I went with a pre-made chassis, if you will. There were other options as well. So yeah, so the pre-developed chassis, I was like, okay, I'm going to go that route, and we got rid of the Volvo and the parts. Still have the cylinder head, by the way. 3 options. We had the Miata, whose track width is great, but it's too short. BMW Z3, whose track width is about an inch too long, I think, but I thought I could absorb half an inch per wheel arch. And that, would have been fine. But really tall front strut towers. So the height of the engine was there, and the strut towers were equally as high as the engine, meaning they would poke through the front fenders. Which, to be honest with you, this is going to be a bit of a Frankenstein build. It's not going to be SEMA, or if anybody wants to sponsor me for SEMA, fine. I didn't mind it poking through. I thought, cool. I would weld on the wings, the fenders, get them structural, and then, do the strut tops to the fenders. It would have been fine. And then there was another option that one of the videos covered, which was the MR2, whose length was about the same as the Z3, about an inch too long, which was fine, mid-engined. Going back to the Volvo as well, another thing about making that mid-engined was all the cooling pipes I'd have to run. There was so much I'd have to develop. Cooling it, intercooling it, or charge cooling it. I'd be running so many pipes front to back. And I don't know, I just wanted a more simple build. And again, MR2's all done, and if the one from Copart had come through the right price, that is the route I would have gone. It was, simple as. So the vehicle that did come up at the right price was the Miata. Thus, I have gone this route. Another thing that people asked about was older Audis, if I wanted to stay the 5-cylinder route. Now the thing with Audis is, Audi likes to put the entire engine in front of the rear wheels. So in a front, say, mid-engined car, you've got something like a Z3 or a Corvette. You have the front wheels, the car's going that way, you have the front wheels, or the front wheel center line, and the entire engine is behind the front wheels. Now what Audi likes to do, and baffles me, and so does Subaru, and it's got better because they've controlled it with electronics. They like to put the entire engine in front of the front wheels, so you turn a corner and the engine just wants to go straight. I don't like that design. But what happens if you do that with an inline 5, say from like a 90s Audi Quattro or Audi 2000 or Audi 200 in England, whatever, is it starts to encroach on cabin space. Now I'm a scooch under 6'2". I'm 1.87 m, and I need a fair bit of leg room. I can't have an engine shoved in my back that is so far in front of the center line of the front wheels, which are now the rear wheels, so it will push the engine forward within the car. So I discounted that. Also, it's really old technology. You're on mechanical fuel injection, parts are difficult to get, all that kind of stuff. I do not want to bother with that kind of stuff. I want parts cheap, easy, available, close, quick, convenient, everything. And a Miata really does tick that box. I mean, I'm part of about 4 or 5 forums and all the Facebook groups, and god damn, the amount of parts that come up for sale everywhere, and they're close to me in SoCal. So that covers the car aspect. Now, what a lot of people have asked is, why am I not restoring and developing the original Beetle chassis and then adding a Subaru turbo motor on the back of it? And to be honest with you, I love the Subaru turbo motor. They don't seem to be too reliable. They seem to spin bearings and get rod knock and all that a lot, and blowhead gaskets. But again, you've got the issue of charge cooling, running coolant lines, all that kind of stuff. One reason why I'm not doing that right now, and that build may happen in the future, is budget. Now, I think if you go there, I think it's a company like Super Gears or something, and they do adapter plates and all that kind of stuff, or adapters for running a Subaru transmission where the Beetle transmission was, so you get a 5-speed and all that kind of stuff. They're thousands of dollars. Yes, I could probably find stuff, secondhand on the internet, but seriously, they're thousands of dollars. So that's just not in my budget. And even if it was, I wouldn't want to spend it on this. At this point in my building career and at my skill level, I only want to spend so much because it makes me comfortable. I don't want to be spending 20 grand on parts and then, I don't know, possibly bodging something up, because I'm still learning. So that is why essentially I've gone with the Miata. So what I want to talk to you now about is budget. This is really, really important and very illuminating for the direction I have taken. Here we have the cost breakdown for the Beetle. The car originally cost $500, tow dolly was $50, registering it non-op in my name was $50, total $600. So I sold the motor for $450, sold the transmission for $200, sold the wheels for $200, total of $850. That means I am $250 in the green on the bug, and I have exactly what I need. I have a body with paperwork that I can register it with. So here we have the Miata budget. The car cost $950, tow dolly $50, which is $1,000. I have already sold the headlights $80 from bumper $80, rear lamps $40, fender $80, trunk lid $80. That makes a total of $360. So the car owes me right now at this point $640. The things I still have for sale, and I think I will get these prices, so it's going to be pretty close. Roof for $150, fender for $80, rear bumper, let's say $40, doors $80 each, making $160, body kit $80. That makes a total of $510. $640 minus $510 means eventually at the end of it, the Miata will stand me at around $130. So that gives you an idea of the budgeting that I'm working with. Now, the more eagle-eyed among you will have said to yourselves, but what about your hourly rate? And that is where this whole thing falls down. If I had added my hourly rate to all my bills over the whole time, I'd be about $100,000 down by now. So, as a profitable pursuit, this isn't a good one. Trade the stock market or something like that. Probably have more success. But I just wanted to give you an idea of the budgets I use for these builds. Some of the truck stuff has been vastly different, but this is the budget I'm using for this. On top of this, obviously I've got consumables, I've got welding wire, steel, my time, there's going to be paints, cutting discs, blades, sandpaper, all that kind of stuff, which will mount up, but it's not going to get into the realm or the world of me buying kits and off-the-shelf parts to do things, because they run into thousands pretty much as soon as you buy anything, and I'm not there yet. So I hope this has been informative. Thank you for watching. Hope you stick around and watch the entire series. If you want to see more pics, go to Instagram, Nathan's Garage Official, and also Nathan's Garage on Facebook and Frame Swap Faction on Facebook as well, for lots of crazy builds. Thanks for watching Nathan's Garage. See you next time.